Alright, this one's on Tabitha Michelle Cook, but it's going to have a lot of other people in it. Tabitha Michelle Cook. When I was at her place, I was documenting on my Facebook the things that Josh was doing. Like when he beat up Sid on the stairs, and Graham made excuses for, well, that alcoholic son of a bitch. Graham made excuses for him. He said, well, it wasn't that bad. Dude, it's assault. That bad or not, it's assault. Now, for me, there's a lot of people who did what Tabby did. See, she said that she would make a police report. And, well, that was over a year ago. Well over a year ago. She never did so. Graham said that he would make a police report. That was over a year ago. He never did so. I invested my money into that household for a reason. Because Miss Tabby and Mr. Graham told me that they were going to write those police reports. They never did. So when I called them out for not keeping their word in an entire year, they decided to play victim. Well, I don't give a fuck. I've been calling Graham an idiot for, well, ever since I saw what he did when I had to talk to the officers in chapel. Now, I'm pretty pissed off at Miss Laura for not speaking up. See, Officer Cody Selhorst, I tried to report to him about what was going on. There's about 3 hours worth of body cam footage that shows that I wasn't just trying to find someone to talk to. I was trying to tell them what was going on and trying to get someone to do a goddamn thing about it. Problem is, those officers figured out pretty damn quick what it is that I was up to. I was after their officer, and I still am. Officer Jordan Anderson is a heroin addict. Officer Jordan Anderson belongs in prison. Officer Jordan Anderson had no business wearing a badge. Officer Jordan Anderson had no business responding to the call that night, especially since he's one of the people who ignored the situation with Natalie and told me I needed to just man up. Natalie needed to just man up. Instead of pretending like I would hurt her, maybe she should send people after the folks who actually hurt her. However, it was her pride that was hurt. Tabby, her pride was hurt. Graham, his pride was hurt. I don't care if your pride's hurt. I don't give two shits about your pride. I care about your safety and the safety of those around you, and you increased their chances of being harmed by not coming forward with the truth. Now, they're not at any risk of being harmed by me. Of course, if you consider that, well, I'm a pretty honest feller, my words hold some weight. Now, none of these people are people that I should have had to trust. And Miss Tabby and I would have not had any issues as far as any of that goes if it weren't for the fact that she started dating Graham, who had already fucked me pretty severely by that point. Now, because of what Graham said, and because of how the officer reacted, yeah, Graham really needed to make a police report about that night. But then again, he's an idiot. What do you expect? Now, he was good to me. There is something to be said for that. Jeff Baldridge, he says to me, there was a guy named Brock Byington. He was a dude who was into meth. He was the guy that was feeding Andrew Witcher meth so that Andrew Witcher would actually go to work. Now, Brock Byington was never mean to me. He was always good to me. He was just a dumbass. And I was pissed off one day about how much of a dumbass Brock Byington is. When Jeff says to me, is he good to you? I was like, what the hell does that have to do with anything? He's like, well, is he good to you? I said, yeah. He said, well, know who's good to you and be good to them. And I have been. Those who are good to me, I am good to. But I'm not going to treat you how I want to be treated. I'm going to treat you how you treat me. You start name calling, I'll call you worse names. You send people after me, though, well, I'll take care of it myself. It's the option that I have. The only option I have. Now, going to my dad's house, this is a dude who's got a history of abusing me. Going to Lana's, well, she's got a history of ripping me off and stealing from me. Lying to me to get what she wants and changing her mind once the work is done. Miss Jerry, she doesn't have a long history of ganging up on me. But she's got enough of a history that I can't trust her ever again. See, I knew not to trust Candace. I knew not to trust Danica. I knew not to trust Karamia, or Evan Daka, or Jaylyn. I knew not to trust these people. I also knew that I didn't have a choice. If I wanted a chance at a fair trial, I had to believe at least one of these people was telling the truth. But no, see, Karamia was against me from the start. It's pretty obvious now with the way that she was playing head games. The way she was playing both sides of the line. Now, Katie Cahill, I don't care if she was playing both sides of the line. I care about the fact that, well, she said certain things, and if those things aren't true, then, yeah, she deserves prison. If the things that she said are true, then those things should have been in my court dates. All of them. Those things should have been in Arapahoe County. Katie Cahill and Karamia both have an obligation. A legal obligation. But for Karamia, it was just a head game. Someone to toy with. Someone to fuck around with. Just like Kara Johnson Miles. Now, as far as Miss Peach is being pissed off, she can go ahead and stay pissed off. I'm pissed off at her. If it's alright for me to be pissed off at her, it's alright for her to be pissed off at me. However, I wouldn't have had to do the things that she's pissed off about if she'd have helped me how she said she would. Now, don't get me wrong, there's a lot of little piddly shit that she did help with. But also, there's the fact that I paid for most of it. Do I think she ripped me off? No. I think she's a busy mother with a lot of very fucked up situations that she has to deal with in her own personal life. And she's not the only one. Tabby's got a bunch of fucked up shit she's got to deal with in her own personal life. The problem is they lied to me. Did Miss Peaches lie to me? I don't know. I don't care at this point. See, I needed people to actually come forward. With Miss Peaches, her testimony on my YouTube here, it's illegal as fuck. I'm not allowed to record people like that, am I? Actually, I am. There was a woman in Pennsylvania, I believe. Her son was in a home being abused. So she put a camera in his room. He didn't know it was in there, and the nurses didn't know it was in there. And those nurses abused the fuck out of that boy. Those nurses went to prison. Now, why is that? If it's illegal to record somebody. Well, it has to do with the crimes. The crimes committed. I can record anything that I choose. And I don't need to get a written statement to post up crimes online. I don't have to get your permission. Now, there are guidelines where I do have to get your permission. However, nothing in my case fits those guidelines that make it illegal. As far as Shannon Alvarado and Rick McCormick go, it's perfectly legal for me to record their conversations. Now, they want to make claims about how it's illegal in the state of California. Well, I wasn't in California, now was I? And then, the other people that I recorded while I was in California, they weren't in California now, were they? You seeing how jurisdiction plays a big part in this here book? Jurisdiction, jurisdiction, jurisdiction. I was prevented from having an honest day in court. I was prevented from having an actual attorney. I was prevented from communicating with my friends and family. I was prevented from having access to my own money. I was prevented from having access to money people sent to me. When it would have made a difference, Candace destroyed all of it because she was too cowardly to stand up to Officer Michael Beard. Candace is by far the worst friend that I ever had. Because had she not done the things that she did, both at her house and afterwards, there's a possibility I could have gotten an honest chance. But instead of being honest with me, see, it's not the fact that I had to leave her house that was the issue. It was the situations surrounding me leaving her house. When I told her that I wanted to go in and file a report with Officer Michael Beard, that's when she flipped out. Like, really flipped out. Started saying stuff like, well, you were at my house for a whole week and you had access to the internet the whole time. No, I didn't. I didn't have access to the internet the whole time. I needed the internet for 8 hours during the day. 8 hours at that point in time would have actually been enough. Problem is, I did not have that access during the day. And I was letting Miss Candace know, hey, Candace, I need access during the day. My phone doesn't hardly work here. And it surely only worked for telephone calls. Candace, however, she didn't want to admit that she'd done something wrong. Most people are like that. They're too afraid to admit that they did something wrong. Or that they got something wrong. They're too afraid of the consequences. Why did all these people lie? Because they're afraid of the consequences. God bless America.